And we
Yay.
are live. Yay. Welcome to another edition of Blocks Frocks, hosted this week by Lisa Gibbons and myself, Gillian Gotzel, and our victim, our guest today is Ipshita Kumar, who is a co-founder of Lemonade Social. And I think we're going to kick off the talk today. We've sort of been having a conversation about Web3 and Web3 women. What is Web3 and what does it give to us women? Lisa, you kick off. What we were talking about earlier about doing our passions.
Yeah, well, I suppose for me, I mean, it's very, I feel Web3 in general and blockchain technology kind of allows me to do numerous things, and I don't want to be just known for one thing or just do one thing for all of my life. But when I came in and I met Jill like last year, and she was like, but you can put your art there and you can mint an NFT and you can still write your limericks and you can do your festival. And why don't you do the foraging thing? And I just said, this is great. Why would you stop yourself from I just think it gives you an avenue to use your passions more and to make the most out of your passions. And like meeting up with Lemonade, I know we're going to talk to Cheetah now, but that kind of opened my eyes as well. I'm like, we don't have to just spend all of our time doing the jobs and the work that for others, and the work that we're trying to monetize and trying to always looking for the next gig to make money, or that's not what this is about. This is about taking what you're really interested in. For me, it's like foraging, sustainability, and limericks, mashing them together, and then making NFTs of them. I'm like, this is a dream. So yeah, I'm having fun for the first time in probably forever, work-wise.
I think the thing is as well, we've become polymaths. And the reason why I'm going to move my camera around slightly, it's very slow this way. I was on a call last night with an artist, and she said, "Oh, what are those on your wall?" And I said, "Oh, I did those during lockdown." And then I framed them, IKEA, it was very expensive frames, not, put them on the wall because I quite liked them. I thought, well, why don't I look at them rather than some other painting? And I think Web3 allows you to do passion things like that, have confidence, and also to have multiple income streams. So, because it's very rarely nowadays that people have one job, and then we know the old-fashioned one job for life. You only worked one at the bank, whatever it was. And now people realize that, well, the pandemic, look how that upheaval. And so it's not only upheaval, learning to do new things, it's saying, what is my passion? How can I do it and get paid for it? So what do you think, Ashita? You are doing your passion now, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if you think about it, since COVID hit, I would say at least more than 50 million people, they recognize themselves as creators. So when it comes down to being able to monetize your passion, the opportunity still existed, and it still exists in Web2 space, right? But the only difference is that you as a creator don't have control over anything. The tools that already exist, they're very clunky. You have to go to one tool to sell tickets, another tool to create content, another one to promote, another one to host the event. So the entire experience for a creator is just not fun at all. And as a creator, the reason why you're into gig economy is because you love what you're doing. But in the end of it, you're not spending much time doing what you love because you're just spending way too much time managing these platforms. And then while you're doing all of this, you don't own a single piece of your community. So what Web3 allows you to do is have that direct creator to fan relationship, which was pretty much missing in the Web2 with all the different intermediaries that are there. It allows you, like you said, Gillian, just passive income opportunities as well. I mean, with the royalties and the smart contract integration, collaboration, it just makes the world, I would say, for creators much more direct and just more easier and more, I would say, colorful in better terms, because it just really allows you to collaborate and without any intermediaries.
So I guess that brings us quite nicely to the project of which you are a co-founder. But before we even talk about Lemonade Social, can we step back a bit? You were doing some activities in Barcelona, and you went, "Oh, this is working." So don't explain what you were doing.
Yes. So by studies, I studied hospitality and tourism because it's just an industry I've always loved. It's I would say it's a very romantic industry, because when you think of as a kid that I want to make people happy, and
Mm-hmm.
the first thing you think is I want to get into hospitality, because the countless times you see people check into hotels and you give them an amazing experience in their stay, or through their dinner, or through their event, is like a direct ability to see that you've created value and happiness for that person. So for me, it was very natural to kind of dive into it. So I studied in Spain, and then right after, I started working within different hotels like Marriott, Ritz-Carlton, just to kind of like get a bit more experience. Um, but cooking, or let's say culinary arts, has always been something that has always been up my sleeve. I've always loved kind of like de-stressing by going and making something really fun. It's been part of my childhood. So I was sharing my flat with my co-founders now, Casey and Jacob, in Barcelona, and it was in the initial time where we were just exploring the basic functionality of the app, where we were trying to test out payments, and if this model of allowing creator to open their own lemonade stand and invite friends of friends and be able to monetize their skill set as a secondary income would work. And then if it worked, if it kind of became your active income, then it was just so much easier. So for me, it was like, okay, you know what? I want to try this out as well. So I wanted to become the first creator. And I said, I cook Indian food. And everybody in Barcelona that I knew of loved Indian food. And they've always said, oh, we'd love to come. So I said, okay, Casey, you're going to manage all things app and how we're going to collect payments, or let's say contributions in that case, just to be able to chip in for the dinner. Jacob will take care of reaching out to his colleagues and friends of friends, and I'll take care of all the cooking and taking care. And we wanted to essentially test out how long would it take just through these Indian dinner nights for me to match, or like, let's say, break even my costs. And then the next step was to match my salary. And then the third step was to exceed my full-time job salary. So when that happened for us, was the aha moment that if I can do it by just cooking dinner, really talented musicians, which is pretty much the hub in Barcelona, they can do it too. All we need is a living room or a rooftop, your talent and your music, and just 10 to 15 friends to come in, chip in $20, BYOB, and enjoy a beautiful evening. And what it did for a lot of locals is that they were also tired of going to bars and restaurants and just not being able to communicate with a random stranger, or going on those really boring Tinder dates when they know that it's not leading to anything. But this allowed them to be in an event which was their common interest that they shared, and it just allowed them to socialize instead of just going on social media and socializing.
And I think in the real world events, it was like a ripple effect, wasn't it? Because obviously you have a finite number of close friends, So when they've all had dinner and paid for dinner, the contribution, you need to get the friends, and the friends. And maybe, as you say, people may be thinking, oh, I'll invite somebody or so-and-so, and it's going to be a nice, fun event without, So how wide did your group actually grow?
We've seen pretty wild use cases. We've seen, for example, an entire team, like a department team at an office, do like a team building activity at our living room in one of those dinners. We've seen people invite multiple Tinder dates week on week. We've seen a lot of those. But I think the most interesting was, so in Barcelona, it's very common to have beautiful living rooms with very high ceilings, thanks to all of Gaudi's work in the past. So a lot of guests just recognize themselves in our shoes, thinking, hey, I have a living room too. Maybe it cannot fit 12 to 15 people. It can definitely fit 8 people. I have a couple of friends who love cooking. Why don't we start becoming hosts? So for us, like you said, the ripple effect was we just started attracting more people with living rooms who wanted to host, to organically start like kind of like putting their living rooms out as lemonade stands. And then musicians, the good thing is, once a musician makes money, they have a lot of friends to go and tell, like, hey, I made a lot of money, or I made way more money than just singing at a bar and getting free drinks and not really getting paid. Why don't you try out this app? So Jacob was getting a lot of inbound requests from creators, and for myself, I was getting a lot of inbound requests for hosts to set up their lemonade stand. And Casey was just getting a lot of product requests saying, hey, build this feature, build that feature. And then that would translate to Chris. So yeah.
So
it's amazing.
This was pre-COVID. So COVID happened, and then you had an app already, because you need to be able to manage people. It's very hard to do it. Well, how else were you doing? You could not going to ring them all up or something, or send them letters. So and then the Lemonade social began to evolve from that. Did that happen with the COVID when you realized we need both now?
It's a bit more dramatic, so I'll go for the dramatic part of the story. I would say I decided to come full time onto Lemonade 4 months before the first lockdown, and Jacob decided to come full time a month and a half before the first lockdown. Casey already was full time, Chris as well. So for a core team of four, to just realize maybe like 3 to 4 months after coming full time, trying to figure this model out, eventually going to raising funding, that our entire business plan and model cannot be used anymore because offline events are just not possible. And that was pretty much our thesis, right? We wanted to bring the social interaction into real life, so people can actually connect in a world without emojis and texts. And then for creators to really own the physical space and be able to just go around playing gigs. So that was a very interesting moment where I remember Jacob said, but our main idea is to empower creators, right? We said, yes. All right, we got to go virtual. And we were like, no, we're not sure because, we're also an offline offline platform. He said, no, our main focus and our North Star is our creators. So we need to build tools that will help their life become better. And at that time, creators were just going live on Facebook, Instagram, getting a ton of hearts and likes and comments. And they will always come back and say, you know what, it's great, but none of that is translating to money in my bank account. Even if I put a Venmo link or my GoFundMe link in my page, no one really clicks there and goes to pay even $2. How can we make
they go to like? Is that what they do? They think
like? Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a great dopamine hit, right? Like, oh, wow, so many people. Whoa, the viewer count is going up. But when you end it and you're like, I just spent an hour entertaining, but I gained nothing. And at that time, people are out of work. Government subsidies are just not making through. You really don't know how to get medicines if you get sick or how to pay the rent for next month. So that's when I would say Chris and Casey did their magic. They built a really kick-ass, way less nicer than what Lemonade looks now, of course. But at that time, a really cool web platform that just allowed for creators to be able to ticket their virtual events, attach unlimited virtual stages, and have the ability to also attach their pop-up shop. So if they are selling merch or they have partners with, let's say, a neighborhood craft brewery, they're able to invite them as partners. And then I, as a viewer, or you as a viewer even, can pay for a ticket, listen to the concert, order fresh beer, and it gets delivered to your house. So this whole experience of an offline event, we took it virtual. And I would say like over months is when we started kind of iterating and adding more feature set until we were like, the NFT space is booming. Creators need the ability to add that to their Lemonade stand. Let them not go to a third platform just for NFTs. So we added the ability to connect your wallet and just turn anything on Lemonade into an NFT, whether it's your ticket, your virtual stage. If you want to sell NFTs as well, so yeah.
I think it's
so how
great.
does that work? Yeah, so let's get to the nitty gritty. So are you on a blockchain, and or are you a marketplace? How does that actually work for the creators?
Yeah, so for creators, it depends. If you want, all you have to do is go set up a Lemonade stand, attach the bank account where you would like to receive contributions from event ticket sales or product sales as well. And if you're looking to go more into the NFT route, all you have to do is connect your wallet, and you see a big button to connect your wallet. And there you automatically just kind of pulls all your data for all the NFTs that you've collected, listed for sale, and you can also mint an NFT. And once you have those, you can simply go into edit events and attach your NFTs to any of the existing events that you are collaborating on. So Lisa, if you want to, let's say, host an event on Lemonade, You have your virtual stage ready. You are the event organizer. Julian can sell her NFTs within your event by you just adding her as a co-host.
Yeah, it's so great. I mean, it's so do you know what? It seems too good to be true, even. One of those platforms, you're like, okay, it's going to save me time, because I think the time thing is a factor for creators more than anything. I was speaking to an artist this morning, and he was like, before the NFT world and the Web3 gave him the royalty sharing, he said, I would have put like a whole year into my first piece of art, right? So he would have put like a lot of time and a lot of work into his first piece of art. And then someone buys that piece of art, and that person is reselling it and getting all the credit for it and blah, blah, blah. Whereas now with NFTs, you have that royalty sharing thing, so that it follows him around. So even if that NFT goes somewhere else, he can attach 2.5% or 5%, whatever it is, commission for the creator. And I think putting the power in the hands of creators via these new channels, via these new features, is just so powerful and so inspiring for the creators themselves. Because as this artist was telling me, and he's a fine art dealer or artist in South Africa, and he was saying, income equals freedom, and it's like freedom to create for him. He's like, okay, if I have time and more time, because I'm just getting the income, I'm not overthinking it too much, and stressed about trying to make money. Where I make money, what I do, and and then he has so much more time to concentrate on the quality of his creations, the quality of the artist. So I think if Lemonade is helping that mission, then we are on. This is like world changing.
That comment you made there is very serious. Just the income is freedom. That's huge. Just an artist doesn't mean you got to starve in a garret. Sorry.
Exactly.
I didn't say that. Now that Matthew Hindley is the artist. that's his line. Okay. Income is freedom, which is so powerful. So powerful, and giving people time back in their lives.
100%. And I mean, we talk, like Jacob and I talk to creators every single day at Lemonade, and we've actually come across several creators who have sold some NFTs. They said, you know what? The amount of money I've made by selling just one NFT is way more, exceedingly more than anything I've ever done when it comes to creating content and uploading on different platforms constantly. And I would spend so much time. So it's just worth it. Maybe sometimes you have to wait. Sometimes you have to wait to create the right community. But if you're like constantly doing the work that you were anyway doing every other day, return is just beautiful. It's a very beautiful technology.
Yeah. So I'm going back again to the practicality. So I'm an artist. My picture's on the wall there, right? And I come and I set up a thing where I'm going to talk about why I painted them. Do I mint them on a different marketplace? Is that then attached to what? Is that how it works? Tell me about the actual mechanics.
You mean for Lemonade?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah. So with Lemonade, it works in two ways. You can either mint the NFT on our platform and list it, or if you want, you can mint it on any other platform if you want. And when you connect your wallet, it pretty much imports the NFTs that you have in your wallet, and then you can attach that to any of the existing events.
Okay, that's so cool.
So it allows the creator, like, do whatever you want, but come here, make Lemonade, because it'll make your life easy. You don't have to think 40 different times. Oh, what do I do? Shit, I just minted it on a different platform. That's okay. As long as it's on the Ethereum chain, just come.
Yeah.
Because I was reading an article, or press release actually recently, someone put out, and Steve O'Keefe, I'm saying it right, the DJ, he was saying he's made more on NFTs in this last year than he had in the previous 10 years. And he's a big name. He's not name. And he's made more. Isn't that interesting? And I think I also love the idea, Lisa, you were saying too as well, the secondary market. Because as authors, for example, if you write a book, you sell a book, that's it. And you get paid very little in the trad world. So can you imagine if you wrote a book and you sold it, and then someone else sold it to somebody else? That would be like, and then you get another, I don't know, a couple of euro from it or whatever. That's exciting, because that's like ongoing sales. And why not? Because the book's been read by a new person. It hasn't been devalued by being in someone else's hands.
And Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I'm a personal fan of used books. The smell is just
Me too.
So good. I don't like buying new books. I always am like, hey, is that your book? Okay, I'd love to buy it from you. So definitely.
And I think that in like it'll help you stick with your passion as well. You know, they sometimes, like for me, like poetry, I was always interested in writing poetry. My mom is a poet, and you know, so I felt like it was, you know, I was inheriting it, so I had to do it, and I love it. But you know, and I never met a bob. A bob is like a euro. I never met a euro from any poetry I've ever written. But if you just saw little bits, you know, if there was like one poem that you sold as an NFT, or one poem that people were reading on Lemonade or whatever, and then you could like create an event, like a festival or an event associated with that poem on Lemonade, and then like one thing was happening, it would keep you doing, you know, not getting disheartened by, you know, by things not happening all of the time, you know. So I think it's really putting making in the past, like, I'm not going to say the Web 2 world, because it's just the old world, I would say. You know, you're told you go out, you do your job, you do it as best as you can, and you bring home the bacon, and then you can play, you know, and then you can do your pastime, and then you can do. Whereas this, it could be completely opposite in the future. Where like you have all day doing your play to earn games with the games that you love, and then you have like your lemonade stand at the weekend, and you know, doing stuff. I just think it's fascinating, isn't it? The world is changing.
I was going to say, I actually made money from poetry once. I wrote it myself and my friends many years ago, 20 years ago, wrote some poems about the claddagh, which is the ring, you know, the ring with the hands, the Irish style ring. It's quite famous style of ring. And we wrote lots of poems, and somebody in BBC Northern Ireland on the radio wanted to quote one of my poems. And I said, oh, yes, of course you may. And they paid me £30 sterling for 2 lines.
Wow, unreal.
First and only time I ever got paid, by the way.
That's brilliant, Jill.
2 lines. He read out for 2 lines. It was amazing. So, do you know what it makes me want to do as well? Every time we talk with you, Pshita, and with Jacob and Casey, and hopefully soon Chris,
Yes,
I've got so many plans in my head that I want to do. I want to try that. I want to try that. And I love to as well. You were saying with the dinners that you did, right? This is really interesting. So you started off and you had maybe, how many people were at your first dinner? Was it 10 maybe, or 8 or
10? 10. Yes.
That you were able to do that and do the ripple. And so you not only, you covered costs, then you covered your salary, and then you exceeded your salary. And what I like about that too is that you're just rippling off friends of friends. And it's not like nowadays, if you want to make money on YouTube, my daughter who works with horses said, oh, I'll do stuff on YouTube. And I'm going, you have to have millions and millions of views. You forget it. It's not worth your time. And she got quite cross with me. And I'm going, but no, I know it's not worth your time. But something with Lemonade Stand would be worth her time, because you only need 10 people to pay, you know, a couple of euros each, and then 10 more, and then 10 more, and then whatever it is that your price point is and your community. I love the fact that you can grow your community, and actually, do you know, also you can grow your community without charging too much, because you know, ordinarily you might have to say, oh, it's 45 euros a ticket. That's a lot to ask someone to pay to come listen to you read a poem, perhaps, you know, but you might say, oh, €1 or $1.
There were also times, I mean, we've constantly received a lot of I would say feedback saying, oh, how is it different from Airbnb experiences, or how is it different from any other app, right? And we would tell them, you would just not pay, like a local would never pay $100 for 2 glasses of wine on a rooftop. A local wants something very, very grassroots, very unique, and local to spend their average Tuesday night or Thursday night, right? And some of the things that we saw, so of course, like first we started with just the dinner, and once our bandwidth for that was pretty set, we were in a good position to think, okay, we need some entertainment. So how about we invite a live musician who can come in, and during the aperitivo time, he can just play, and then just before dinner, he can leave. So we would charge, maybe instead of 15 euros, we would charge 25 euros, where the additional amount as a co-host split would immediately just go to the musician's bank account, and I would get my split. So this is a conversation I can always have with a musician, or a DJ, let's say, for example, or even someone who wants to host a sip and paint workshop before the dinner, saying, hey, we're going to have, let's say, 10 people. And since I'm doing most of the heavy lifting with my friend circle, I'd like to give you 30% and I'll keep 70%, for example. And the app just automatically just sends out, just pays you out in the percentage that you define before the event starts. And like that, we were able to scale much faster. We were able to reach out to a lot more creators. And that's where the power of the app kind of kicked in, saying, okay, with collaborations, you can host massive festivals where you can literally add every DJ as a co-host, add your promoters as co-hosts, assign them 1 or 2% of the total ticket sales, and just go crazy, sell, enjoy. Because the more everyone works, everyone's value of that co-host split also increases. So it's like a real community that you're building, online and offline as well.
I love that. The sense of collaboration is so important, because I think, because it's been so hard for creators to get that income and get that revenue stream going, that it's like nearly a fear of collaboration is going to take my little piece of the pie or whatever. Whereas by encouraging collaboration and saying, okay, let's do this together, let's investigate, let's experiment together, you're nearly creating mini festivals. It's like mini festivals in the online world. It's brilliant.
What's the wackiest project so far that's been a lemonade stand?
Define wacky.
Anything.
Eye popping.
Eye popping. Let's see. There were a lot. I think the one that I really enjoyed working on the most was 2 years ago. We partnered with Stonewall Housing, which is a center I think in London. And they basically advocate for the LGBTQ community, and they protect LGBTQ homelessness and abuse. So one of the things that I wanted to always do is ensure that we are not just, as a company, as a platform, we're not only just focusing on what's easy or what's just out there and like very nearsightedness, but just kind of like exploring more diverse ways of including creators, especially the ones who just don't get attention. Mm-hmm. So we reached out to Stonewall Housing and we said, hey, how have your fundraising plans been? And it was in the early 2020. And they said, listen, it's just been horrible, because usually we would plan for a gala and then we would sell tickets and we'd get lots of donations. But this year, it just seems that it's not going to happen. We don't know. I said, well, what about a virtual festival? And what we can do is have the members who are registered with you become creators. So if someone has a tiny little hat shop and they have 50 pieces, let's set them up as store owners. If someone loves to give out voguing classes, let's have them do a live stream on voguing. So we worked with them. It was a 3-day festival all weekend, end of June. And we had over, I think, 20 different creators. And the good thing was these creators were actual members of Stonewall Housing. And towards the end, they raised a pretty good amount from a virtual festival, which all of it went to Stonewall Housing and all their efforts. And for me, it was awesome. Yeah. We also had Honey Davenport, so everyone was so excited.
You also had what? Sorry, I missed the end.
We had Honey Davenport. They're very well known within the voguing space as well.
Okay. Sorry, that's amazing.
I'm definitely not cool enough. I need to go research.
Oh dear, that's amazing. Thank you so much for your time today. It's lovely to hear about it. So each time I chat to you, I have another idea. And I have another idea in the back of my head here now. I go,
let's put it on the platform.
Yeah, definitely.
Every creator we meet, I'm telling them about it. So I think we should get the word out for Lemonade. And I mean, it's such a lovely idea for the brand as well, I must say. Like, congratulations on that. Just the Lemonade stand. It's really easy to understand, to get your head around, And
I think the other takeaway for me is, and you said at the very start, is that there are so many creators. And to be creative, you don't have to be like a Picasso. You don't have to be, I don't know, a Justin Bieber or something. I don't know, or whatever. You can be an ordinary person, and be successful. That to me is a big takeaway.
Friends who believe in you, and that's all you need.
Yeah, that's all you need. Exactly.
I love that. I love
Thank
it.
you so much for having me. It's been a
Oh,
pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks a million.
Happy Friday. Thank you so
Happy
much.
Friday. Lovely to
Hey.
chat, guys.